Hey everyone. Oh my gosh, it's been a long day, but I don't expect many people to catch this live because I'm aware that a lot of other people are live. Plus, I haven't been live in a while, and this was really spur of the moment, but I'm still going to do this because I feel like it's the right thing to do. And I feel like a lot of people rest solely on the fact that I don't really speak out that much about things. I mean, I stand up for what I believe in, obviously, you guys know that, but I really don't talk about certain things. You know what I mean? Even when people ask me, I kind of just keep it short. But somebody reached out to me this past week, and she just asked me a few questions, and I am going to pretty much clear up some misunderstandings that people might not be aware of. I've done a live on this before, but I'm going to talk about it again real quick. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff going on, and I do have a live planned right after this, too. So hopefully I'll be able to do that live because there's nothing but bullshit going on in this community, and it's disgusting. Like, I'm just disgusted with it. But we'll talk about that after this. And I would have combined it, but I just chose not to. You guys get it. So I hope you guys are having a good Saturday. I don't I'm not on YouTube that much on the weekends. I'm usually with the family. YouTube is not my life. It's definitely not a priority as far as like, I don't know, but it will be. It will be. I have a lot of stuff planned. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. But I hope you guys are all having a good Saturday. But I want to tell you guys a story. Okay. A lot of people, and I have talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again. And the reason why is because I think in a lot of ways, people are being gaslighted in different situations. And I'm really happy that the DeLorean reached out to me because, excuse me, because it's just something that she wanted to know. And it's something that I keep quiet about because I never really talked about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never really talked about um, why I don't have the mods that I have anymore. And with some of them, it was just a mutual understanding. And then with some, it wasn't. But when I first started my channel, I started doing videos. I would say in like maybe 2020, going into 21. I started doing videos. Like, I've had my YouTube. We all have a channel. It's just a matter of whether we choose to be a creator, right? So I started doing makeup videos. Then I left for another year because my camera broke. And then I came back and decided to do makeup and commentary. Some of you know the story, some of you guys don't. And I was a part of a community. I wouldn't say I was a part of it, but I met a few people, and how do I explain this? Okay, so when I started my channel with makeup and commentary, I was also kind of a part of another community, but not really, which was the Ashy Cat community. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Ashy Cat, but Ashy Cat is literally somebody who was, I don't even know if she still has a channel, but she was basically, and it's not funny, very traumatic, but she was somebody who basically, I guess, more like a vlogger, and she used to do tarot cards, and YouTube was in an uproar because she actually used to be pretty much high on camera. She would film herself. She struggled with addiction, and she would always be like really, really messed up, And I had a friend who literally kind of, excuse me, did a video about her, or she did a live about her, and she kind of blew up after that, which was amazing. Like, she blew up. I was really happy that she blew up. And she went from like 1,000 subscribers to like maybe 3,000. And, you know, when you gain that much subscribers, it kind of gets to your head. We all know how that works, right? Even though 3,000 subscribers is not that many, not here on YouTube, you're not really even recognized. You're not even recognized on YouTube unless you have like 10,000 or over, and not even that. But she blew up, and I was really happy for her, and a lot of people were. And she blew up by talking about Ashy Cat, and it kind of got to her head, and she made some mistakes, which we all do. She does have a channel still, and 2 days ago. Hi, everyone, too. I will say hi to you guys. I'm sorry. I just want to tell this story real quick. Admitted she's been using on and off the whole time. Wow. I don't watch her anymore. It's very triggering to me. So I don't watch her. But like I said, it's very, very difficult. Hey, Dorothy, surviving the storms. I'm sorry. I usually say, I'm sorry. Hey, that girl, everyone, Jenny, Salma. But anyway, when you base your channel off of talking about one person, you're not going to get that far. You may think you're going to get far, but eventually that's going to blow up in your face, because talking about one person is it's toxic. You know what I mean? But anyway, she gained some success off of that. And I think she got a lot of subscribers, like a lot more than what she thought she was going to get off of one live. And she started making it a safe place for everyone. And once I started seeing certain things, I kind of backed away because I just didn't like the things that I was seeing, but that's another story. So during the midst of being there off and on, no matter what, I always defended this girl. I always had this girl's back. People used to talk about this girl very badly. And I used to go from panel to panel defending this girl because I just felt so bad for her. And because of that, people got to know me, even though I was in and out of her community. And I met a very nice girl, and her name was Boston Kuzi. I met her, and I thought, you know, she was a sweetheart. She was a part of that community. And it was one day that she came to me. Now, during that process, I was starting to build my own channel, and I was going live. And that was when a lot of people kind of gravitated to my channel. Excuse me. And it was just, there's some crazy moments if you go back and watch. There were some crazy moments, but I thought she was nice. And I want to start this live off by saying that in no way, shape, or form am I talking badly about these people from my past. I'm just clarifying some things because I think that there has been a huge misunderstanding, and I'm going to make sure that people understand where I'm coming from as far as when it comes to the whole situation with the DeLorean. In no way am I trying to insert myself in it or anything like that. I'm just stating what everybody else knows and what everybody else complained about, but I'm the only one with enough fucking guts to say something. Okay? So when I met her, I was like, oh, wow, she's nice and everything. And we got to know each other, and she was talking about how much she liked my channel. And I thought she was, you know, a sweetheart, you know. She was literally the sweetest person I ever met. And hold on. Sorry, guys. I thought she was the sweetest person I ever met. And I still think she's sweet. I'm sure she is, whatever. But when I met her, I felt really bad for her because now this is her side of the story, but I did see some things that I didn't feel was right. When I met her, there were a lot of girls that didn't like her, and they were kind of trolling her, because when I met her and I started getting to know her and having long conversations with her, she eventually became a mod. And when I met her, there was a lot of girls that were like trolling her once she became my mod and everything. And I'm just like, what the hell? That's not right. And there was one day that she came to me and she was very upset because she was just pretty much, I don't know how to say this. I guess you can say bullied. She was bullied by um, a whole bunch of girls in like a private group chat. They were attacking her and it wasn't right. There were things that she told me that was said about myself in this group chat. I guess there was things that was told to her purposely because they thought she was telling, the little petty shit that females do. But regardless, a lot of shit went down. I lost one friend because of it. And I became friends with her. And the whole thing was ridiculous because it was pretty much all about he said, she said. But ultimately, I felt bad for Boston, because why I felt bad for her is because it's never right to be attacked, especially when it's like 5 girls against one. But during that process, I ended up losing someone as a friend from that other side, and that was in that group chat. Stay along with me here. I know this is going to be very, very hard to follow, but I'm going to get to my point in a minute. But Boston Kuzi had became a mod, and then she became a mod, and then she had 2 other friends that became mods too. And then I had a mod that I ended up losing as a friend and as a mod. Of course, she wasn't my friend anymore. So regardless, anyway. And because of that, I ended up modding 2 of the other girls that came with Boston to my channel. Okay. One was Heather, the other Goose. Goose is still a mod for me. But regardless, group chats are bad. Group chats are a bad thing. Stay away. They always leak and will cause you a lot of grief. I agree, Dorothy. I agree 100%. So basically, once all of this happened, everything was cool. Boston Kuzi as a mod, I'd say in the beginning, everything was good. And as Boston Kuzi became a mod, then other people started becoming mods. And I think I had maybe 4 or 5 mods total. But once she became a mod, after a few weeks, things started getting different. She would get offended by things very easily. And she would insert herself into things that she shouldn't have. Now, here's the main issue that I'm going to tell you that I myself had with Boston Kuzi, and not just me, but others, okay? The first issue at hand was, I don't care what you do as my friend. You can go where you want to, insert yourself where you want to, preach to whoever you want to, but as a mod, everyone runs their channel differently. Every creator is different. To me, as a creator, your mods are a reflection of you. Okay. So I have always been very, very, I don't know what to say. I don't want to say strict because I'm not like, whatever. But my number one rule as a creator was go where you want, do what you want. But as my mod, you're a reflection of me. So please be careful on whose panel you go on. And if you are in a fucking chat, or you're on a channel where they're talking about me, either you better defend me publicly out loud in that chat or leave. That's it. That's all I've ever said. You know what I mean? I just agree that your mod is a reflection of you, and wherever you go, you are a reflection of the creator that you represent. And that was the biggest issue, is that as time progressed, drama happens. People start getting mad at you. You start going at it with people. A lot of people would come on my panel, things like that, and then other panels. And then I remember that's in the beginning where TT came into the community. There was a lot of things going on at that time. And it didn't matter what the situation was. Boston Kuzi always inserted herself in those situations, okay? Now, even though she would insert herself in other people's problems or whatever, even though she would do that, I still felt like they were genuine, where it came from a genuine place. Like I understood that she really did want to help and things like that. But the reason why I set that role for my mods is because I don't want my mods being attacked. And also, sometimes it doesn't matter if it's you or if it's your mod. If your mod is going around doing things, it reflects on you. So then whoever it is that your mod offends, because they know that that's a mod for your channel, they're going to bash you. Okay. Sometimes they may bash that mod and hold that mod accountable, but 9 times out of 10, they're going to bash the creator. However, it was also because I wanted to protect my mods, and I didn't want them to have to be having videos made about them, lives made about them, talking their name, my mods' names coming out of another creator's mouth. I didn't want that for my mods, because some people handle those things differently than others. And I never wanted for anyone to get hurt. And I know that getting hurt on YouTube is inevitable, but I never wanted for any of my mods to have to one day wake up and hear a video made about them, or to hear, somebody talking really evil about them. Because regardless, as a mod, when you're on a channel and you're representing that creator, whatever that creator does is going to fall back on the mod. It's seriously like a no-win situation. And I just wanted to do the best I could to protect the people that are a representation of me. You know what I mean? But the problem is with Boston Kuzi is I felt like she didn't care about, I just felt like she didn't care about what happened to me as the creator. Okay. So as she's going from panel to panel, like she definitely would try to help in different situations. And I would tell her all the time, you have to stop doing this. You have to stop going on different panels, using people for clout to get sympathy, to insert yourself in situations that has nothing to do with you. I understand that you want to help, but at the end of the day, these people don't give a fuck about you. Period. They just don't. And no matter what you told her, she never cared. She never cared. That was the only rule that I ever said to my mods, ever. And it was just something that she could not uphold. There would be some times in the chat where she would get offended by things that people would say in the chat, and that's when I took her wrench the first time. And I felt bad that I had to do that, but I'm like, it just doesn't matter what you say. It really doesn't. Like, she just, obviously she wants to be able to go and have that freedom to go panel to panel and try to help people. So maybe she's better off not being my mod, And as a mod, you have to be very biased as well. You do. You have to try to be as biased as you possibly can when it comes to certain subjects, because everyone is entitled to their own opinion about things. I mean, there was a time where she got mad that a creator was talking about a conspiracy theory about the Obamas, and she got really upset and offended by that, and instead of going to that creator, she came to me. She was upset, but regardless, That was the reason why I took her wrench. And, she was around, she was always here supporting me. So I said, you know what? Against other people's opinions, I gave her back her wrench. And, I'm like, okay, fine. Let's try this again. I do think she's a sweetheart. Never said that she wasn't a sweetheart, but I just said, fine. I will give her her wrench back. So I did. And okay, let me say hi to everybody. Sorry. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, did anybody else come in here? Like I said, I knew that this wouldn't be a live full of people. That's okay. I have to get this out. Hey, I'm a Clover. Hey, Brandy. Evelyn, who dat? I like that name. Okay. Big Mama. You get a wrench by showing loyalty. How about that? So it's not that big a deal. And she was very upset when I took her wrench, but just like I said, I don't understand why people get upset about that. Like, as I say all the time, the number one thing I say, people act like getting a wrench is like getting a fucking keys to the White House. It's not that serious. It's really not. But I do understand that it does mean a lot to people, and it does make some people feel like, important and things like that. So I understand that, but I'm at a place, especially now, where I don't know who to trust anymore. I really don't. Some people I do trust. I, have some very genuine people around me, and I'm happy about that. But at this point, it's just, I just don't know. I just don't know. And we'll talk about that another time. But anyway, regardless. So once I gave her a wrench back again, I remember this one person told me, don't give it back to her. It's too early. Just wait. And I wish I would have. Because when I gave her a wrench back the second time, it just got worse. The only difference is there were other people in the chat that started noticing it as well. They started noticing, wow, like, okay. No, I'm good. He's going to sheets. But anyway, there was other people that started noticing things that they didn't like. And they would tell me, this is not right, Tia, blah, 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 blah. And you guys can go watch as proof yourself. There was a very, very tense live, you guys. This was a live where I think it was Mama Knows Best was on my channel. She was on panel. Natasha was on my panel. And this is actually when Natasha and I stopped being friends. Heather was on my channel, Heather Dizzle, and Boston. And I can honestly tell you, not one person on that panel got a word in edgewise but Boston. Now, granted, that was my fault. That was a very, very tense live, and I should have told her to get off my panel. That's what I should have told her. But she had some good points. It was almost as if she didn't care what anybody else had to say but herself. And I tried very, very hard to make her understand, and not only myself, because like I said, it was getting to a point where she was using other people to insert herself in in different situations. And it's like, you can't do that. You cannot take other people that you hardly know. These are people that you don't barely know, but you're inserting yourself in these situations, and it's not right. And no matter in it, and there was one person that she used that was a mod at the time, and the two of us even talked to her. We tried to, just to let her know, please stop going on panel to panel. This is not a good look for Tia, and it just never mattered. It never mattered how it looked for me as the creator, because I can tell you now, after that panel with Natasha, Heather, and then there was Mama Knows Best and Boston, after that panel, who do you think that Natasha went at the next day? Do you think it was Boston? Because it wasn't. It was me. And I thought, and that's what me and that the past is in the past. Okay. Um, I don't want to rehash anything with Natasha. The past is the past. I'm really happy to be cool with Natasha again. Okay. I'm talking about, after that panel, Natasha and I stopped being friends. And then she did a video about me. She didn't do anything, eventually she ended up, because that's how it works. You as a mod have to be careful what you do. I'm sorry, but you do. Now, some creators, they don't give a fuck. That's their channel. They can run their channel however they want to. But I do. I care. I care where my mods, I care what my mods insert themselves into. Let's put it that way. I care about that. And I cared about Boston. I did. I thought she was a sweetheart. Like I said, her intentions were genuine, but she just didn't care what happened to other people. All she cared about was herself. And that was the problem. Secondly, this is a more sensitive issue, but we've had group chats. I've had some amazing times with these girls, and I'm happy that Boston found her place. And from what I hear, I think she's in a relationship. I'm not sure. I'm happy, and I wish her nothing but the best. That's class, and that's how I handle the situation. I don't have a problem with her. I just had a problem with the fakeness. And I hope that she's happy, and I hope that she's thriving. I hope that for her. But another problem was the fakeness, because there were so many times that we would have like the private group chats and like Discord and things like that. I don't have a Discord, but I think it was Boston who created a Discord for all of us to talk and things like that. And we would just have great conversations, great group chats and things like that. But the one thing from the very beginning of me meeting Boston Kuzi was that she was very, very much pro Black people, the Black Lives Matter movement. Sometimes I thought that she knew more about that than I did. She was very, very much an ally for Black people. And I loved that about her. I did. But what I started noticing, and I think these are things that I'm actually noticing now in the present, is that you are pro the Black Lives Matter movement. You were so very, very passionate about that. You got offended over a conspiracy theory. A conspiracy theory is a conspiracy theory, but you got offended over a conspiracy theory about the Obamas. Okay. A conspiracy theory doesn't mean that it's true, but she was very offended by it. So maybe she doesn't know. Maybe nobody told her, but I highly doubt that the person that you seem to be defending with the person that you mod for now, the person that you seem to be defending or whatever, which is Granny's Watching, said racist things about Natasha's niece. Now, the first person that I would see screaming and hollering about that would be Boston, just because that is very serious. And if somebody else did that, now if Natasha said that, and if it was vice versa, everybody would be on her fucking ass. They can't get off of something that was said 3-4 years ago. So I know damn well everybody would be on Natasha's ass if she said a racist remark like that. However, crickets, nothing. Never heard it. So let's just be clear. I'm the person who will stand firmly and stand tall by saying that my number one issue with Boston Kuzi is the way she inserted herself in other people's problems, the way she would change depending upon wherever she was at. Sorry, I call them as I see them. And also, these aren't things that I just now talked about. I said this to Boston herself. I would tell her, please stop doing this, blah, 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 blah. Like, that was my number one issue with her. And it wasn't just my issue. Okay. It was everyone else's issue too. I was the only one who went to her and told her. Now, granted, I'm the creator and I have a problem with because of the way that it reflects on me. Once she left permanently, it wasn't my problem anymore. But I don't know, I don't know Lindsay very well. I do know that her and Natasha don't get along, things like that. That's between them. I don't know Lindsay very, very well, but what I do know is that I agree with her. In no way, shape, or form should anybody insert themselves into other people's business, no matter, even if you're asked to. I just had a huge problem, and I'm not the only person that had this problem. I'm just the only person who had enough fucking guts to tell her. There's a difference there are some people who can deal with that. I can't deal with that. I have to surround myself with women who stand firmly and stand tall to their own convictions. It's very important to me to surround myself around women who are strong. And I'm not saying that Boston isn't strong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that to me, she just seemed like a person that needed to soul search. You know what I'm saying? That's as nice as I can possibly be about it. She just seemed like a person that needed to soul search. And I was never the only person who noticed these things. And it really pisses me off that other people are standing back and not saying anything just because it's Lindsay. That's not fair. I have never been the only person that said, Boston, why do you have to insert yourself everywhere? Because if you're going and hopping from panel to panel to try to help people, fine. That's fine. But you can't do that as my mod. Okay. And a lot of people always question, well, Boston and Heather, who are they? They're from Tia's channel. And if you're saying that as an insult towards me, I really don't give a fuck. Okay. I really don't care. Because I don't know why people always say that Boston and okay, let's put it this way. Some people say, like when Natasha says, she's like, yeah, gee, thanks, Tia, but then there's other people who are like, oh, they're from Tia's channel. Who cares? Well, guess what? Let's see if you're saying that in the future, because you won't be. All I'm saying is that they were very nice. But that was the number one issue with Boston Kuzi. And I never spoke about it. I never spoke about it because I just didn't feel like, well, who cares, right? There have been people who have messaged me personally and said, hey, what happened to that girl? Or what happened to the other one? And I just always said, oh, it just didn't work out, but I do wish them well. And I do. I do. But I always felt very bad for Boston because the community that she was in prior to coming into mine, to me, I feel like some of them didn't like her. And instead of just telling her how they felt and telling her, look, this is how you act, and I don't like this about you. And maybe that would give her some room to, like, what is your problem with me? Because a lot of people felt that way. Because another thing that was hard with Boston is when you tried to tell her something, there was always an excuse. There was never, um, like when she and I think that's the main thing that really, really made me mad, and especially because I was friends with this person at the time, her story was very sensitive, and I didn't like how she just literally used this girl's name and, was talking as if she knew every detail about the story, and she didn't. But regardless, I was happy that that girl, who was another mod of mine, was able to confront her and was able to tell her, look, you cannot do this. Okay. You cannot go around talking about my story like you know what's going on when you really don't know what's going on. I mean, I ain't even gonna lie, we both tried to tell her. And don't get me wrong, there's great qualities about Boston. I think she's a very, very pretty girl. She's funny. She has a great sense of humor. There was just problems to where it's very hard to communicate with somebody and tell them certain things, especially as a mod, when they literally had an excuse for every single thing that they do, or when you're trying to tell them, look, now if let's just say her being a mod was a job. Okay, now obviously being a mod as a job, you're going to take your job more seriously. I get it. This is not a job. You guys are mods and you're amazing people and you're not getting paid for it, and I appreciate every single one of my mods, which I don't have many, but I appreciate y'all. But the point is, if it was a job and you see an employee doing something wrong and you take them back to the office and say, look, you are arguing with the customers and you can't argue with the customers. The customer's always right. But then they make an excuse and say, well, that customer said this to me. It doesn't matter. The customer is always right. And that's what I'm trying to say. It was always an excuse. There was never any accountability. There was never any, like, even when me and that girl whose story she used, um, to insert herself in a situation, it was crazy because when we told her a majority of these people that you're trying to help don't give a fuck about you, she literally got offended by that. Like, she was literally like, oh my God, no, no, don't say it. Something like that. I can't remember what she said. But the point is that in no way am I trying to bash or demean or talk about people. A lot of people always wanted to know why I chose to separate myself from Boston Koozie and Heather. Heather is a different reason, but with Boston Koozie, that's the reason why. Because when you insert yourself into people's problems, you're opening things up and you're opening up to be criticized and sometimes demeaned. And let me tell you something. I'm sure that she learned, because there are several videos out there that I've seen about Boston. And the thing is that I never wanted that for her. I never wanted people to make videos about her and to talk about her and things like that. That's what I didn't want, even though I know it's inevitable, but those are things that I never wanted for people to have to do, you know? And to me, in that situation, when I first met her and she came to me and, she's telling me about how there was 5 girls in a group chat against her. There are definitely things that she left out that um could have been different, and it definitely ultimately came to me losing somebody that was a friend. But it wasn't just solely based on Boston. That had a lot to do with something else. Um, but the reason why the DeLorean reached out to me about this is because I'm pretty sure um, Boston was asked to do something and she read something, whatever, even though she should never have been asked that. But regardless, if there's a situation going on between two friends, um, and a friend asked me, well, hey, talk to her on the phone, but write down everything she says, and we're going to go on a live about it and talk about it. I would say no. I would say no. If I'm sorry, but you just have to be careful on what you insert yourself into, because you don't know the history between these two friends. You don't know anything except for what one person told you, not the other person. And even though I wanted to remain at least cool with Boston and to keep in touch with her, it seemed as though after she was no longer a mod, she wasn't supportive anymore because she found somewhere else that she belonged. She found somewhere else that she fit in. And that's great. I'm happy for her. I hope everything works out in her life. But if you support me, you support me, and it shouldn't matter if you're a mod or not. And of course, if you're a mod on another channel, I don't expect you to be on mine because you're not my mod anymore. But when it comes down to you are never on any of my live streams, and you stop being supportive like you once were until you found somewhere else, I don't play that shit. I'm not, like I said, this is not to bash Boston. This is not to put her down in any way, shape, or form, but it is for me to say and vouch, and other people, I'm sure. And I'm surprised, and I'm just really surprised that other people aren't speaking up and saying the truth. There are people that witnessed firsthand, um, literally witnessed firsthand the things that Boston would do. There are people who used to come to me that weren't my mods and say, why does she always have to be on panel, or things like that? Like, so no, there are people, especially if it was a mod, there are people who've seen firsthand the things that Boston would do, that would talk about it, that would always tell me, you know, she's not a good representation of you. All of these things, and that would point out things that she would do. There are people who were very, very much very vocal and how things was with Boston. And I'm very surprised that more people aren't coming out and talking about um the things that she did, you know. And like I said, every creator is different. Every creator runs their channel differently. Everyone sets different expectations of what they expect, obviously, out of their mods. And that was just my one and only rule, because I didn't ever want any backlash to come to any of my mods. Okay. Including myself. But if you're trying to tell a mod, please quit doing this, you know, quit going panel to panel. You can't solve anything. I understand that you want to help, and they are literally not caring what happens. And I feel like that panel with Natasha pretty much was the breaking point of me knowing that Boston wasn't going to be my mod, because no matter how much I would tell her, you know, Boston, let other people talk or whatever. You can go back and watch the live yourself, and I will tell you guys. Actually, I'll link it in this live. I'll link it, because some creators don't care, you know, if a person's on their panel. And I liked the things that she was saying, some of the things and points that she was making to Natasha, but in the same sense, it was very, very mind-blowing to me how a lot of people didn't get a word in. I'm telling you, she's probably the only one who talked the most on that panel and interrupted the most on that panel. And like I said, that was the big issue, and my biggest issue, and a lot of other people's biggest issue with Boston. Now, I have not seen her around in a while. I do remember one time, this is another thing that showed me Are you an ally for Black people? I guess not. Not that she ever claimed to be, but she sure did act like it. If you're on Vivian's channel and I don't know if she does now anymore, but if you're on somebody's channel and you know that they say the N-word and you're telling them that they shouldn't say it, but laughing about it when they tell you, okay, when they tell you, oh my God, I'm getting stuck. Laughing about it when they tell you, no, I'm still going to say it. You're not an ally for Black people. You're not. Any of those times that you have been on panel with Holly or anything like that, the stuff that GW said, I can't believe it's mind-blowing to me, which shows me that you were never the person that you portrayed yourself to be. You are whoever you surround yourself with. That I have a problem with. I don't ever want to align myself with somebody who doesn't know who they are. Okay, hold on, let me see here. Just wanted to show support. GW is showing pics of me and roasting me currently along with Lycan's panel members. I'm headed to bed, but glad to see so many people watching you. Y'all subscribe. Oh, thank you, Natasha. I am going to be talking about that in a minute. I guess I'll just do it on this live. But that's the problem that I had and that I will continue to have. And even though I'm very empathetic, and I'm sorry to Lindsay that I hope that her and Holly work things out. I genuinely do. I really, really do. They have a long friendship, I'm pretty sure, that goes way back, and I hope everything works out with them. But at the end of the day, I just cannot believe that more people aren't speaking up and saying, yes, Boston, you insert yourself into things that you shouldn't. Heather being one of them, because she was the main person who complained a lot. And don't make me look like a liar either, because I have the proof and I don't want to have to go there. I never share screenshots. I never, ever do. Okay. I never do. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, Heather, you're the one who followed her over there, and that's great. I'm glad that, like I said, I'm glad that you guys are happy and healthy and thriving. That's wonderful. But you're the one who's known this whole time and who complained for I don't know how many months about Boston. So the least you can do is speak up and say that. It's not hard. Okay. But because of that is why I never spoke to her again. Because if you're talking behind somebody's back, guess what? You're talking behind mine. Period. I do notice now that excuse me, I do notice now that I don't see Boston around very much. I mean, you used to see her everywhere on a majority of people's panels, but you don't see her now. So obviously maybe she's not like that anymore. She doesn't go to panel and that panel to panel and insert herself. And I think that's awesome. That's great. That's an amazing thing. But, you did. That's what you used to do. And just because you don't do it now, a couple months ago, that's what you did. And I can honestly say the only time I've ever seen Boston, and I don't see her often like I used to. I don't see her often, but I do see her when I see Holly. So I feel like, never mind. I see her a lot when Holly comes around. I do see her inserting herself in situations that Holly inserts herself into. And you see, that's the problem. That's what I didn't want. I just wanted for Boston to be her own person. That's all. And like I said, it didn't work out with me, and I hope everything works out with her. But it's definitely not right or fair that nobody is speaking up and at least saying, it is true, you know? You have to understand that there's a difference between trying to help people and inserting yourself. And some people insert themselves and then uses I'm trying to help them as an excuse. Like I said, I believe her trying to help was genuine, but at the same time, when there's other people at stake and then there's somebody else that you're representing, you should care enough about that person to say no. And like I said, I'm very, very happy to see that she doesn't go from panel to panel anymore because I don't see her that much anymore. But in the same sense, how does that look when you literally don't ever insert yourself into anything now unless Holly does? Like, I don't get it. I will never get it. Um, do I wish I seriously wish that I would never have even had them as a mod. I really do because I'm just so regretful about it, but we all make mistakes, we all learn. Um, but I just feel like the people who have witnessed this, the people who have seen this and who have blatantly spoke about this behind her back should have enough guts to speak up on behalf of somebody else. It's not hard, okay? It's not hard to say, "Yep, that's your biggest problem. We all have problems. We all have flaws. That's your biggest problem. You insert yourself where it's none of your business." Period. When there are a whole bunch of people, saying something, guess what? Maybe that's time for you to look and say, especially when it's, has to do with your character. You know what I mean? And even like the reason why I would never say anything about the other mod is that I'm no longer friends with. Um, the reason why I wouldn't say anything about her is because she really didn't get that close to Boston the way Heather did. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to say anything about her because I'm sure maybe if Boston was to confront her directly and say, "Hey, did you have a problem with me inserting myself?" I'm sure she would tell the truth. Um, but when it comes down to it, this has been the number one issue. And I will speak up about that because somebody has to. People need to quit pretending, open up your mouth and say something. It's not that big of a deal. If you feel like a person inserts themselves where they shouldn't be inserting themselves and they talk about things that they shouldn't be talking about, there's nothing wrong with saying something and saying, "Look, this is the truth. You might not see it, but this is how it is." Period. Oh, thank you, Emma Clover. Like I said, I wish them nothing but the best. Nothing but the best. But I am very, very I guess you can just say I don't know both sides of the story. The only side of the story that I really know of is um, the DeLorean story. So I cannot insert myself and say, "Well, you're wrong." And no, I can't do that. All I can say is I will be the one to publicly say that that was the major issue that I had with Boston Cousy. And she never cared about anybody else's feelings but her own. Point blank, period. And maybe it was just me. Maybe it was just me. But you can't take away from the fact or deny the fact that she did insert herself into other people's issues and problems like she was some damn Dr. Phil trying to help everyone. And that's fine. You want to help everyone. But at some point, you have to know when enough is enough. And it's obvious that she figured out enough is enough. Because when you only insert yourself in things when somebody else comes out and inserts themselves, well, then guess what? That shows that maybe you finally realize that inserting yourself in everybody else's problems and trying to be Dr. Phil isn't always the way to go, right? Okay. If you guys have any questions, you can ask them below. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get that story out. And then now I'm going to read some comments. And I'm sorry if I missed your comment. If it's important, write it down again. Okay. Boston confused me with someone else here in your chat one night and came at me hot. Instead of asking me who I was, she came at me. She did apologize though, but not before ripping me a new one. In my chat, she never just say okay or yes, a whole excuse and deflection. Amen. Yes. I mean, I would try to just say, like, look, Boston, I understand that you want to help, but you know, you don't have to help with everything, especially with all that mess that was going on with TT. Like, you know, I take TT back, and I don't like anybody talking about anybody, but I definitely would take her over GW. But regardless, you know, even when she would, you know, the whole thing that was going on with them and she inserted herself, and her inserting herself is how she met, you know, Lindsay and I think Collie and all of them. And I think that's obviously something good came out of it. But regardless, like, it was just a big old mess. And everywhere you went, there was Boston. And it just was, to me, I remember her saying to somebody, or somebody told me, I cannot remember who it was, but they told me that Boston said, I always felt like I had to walk on eggshells being a mod for Tia. And the only thing that I could say for her saying something like that is, how hard is it to just stay out of people's business? How, not even necessarily business, but how hard is it to not insert yourself and use other people for clout? How hard is that? It's not hard. It's not hard. All you have to do is mind your own damn business, be a mod, state your opinion, can still come up on my panel, but quit going around from panel to panel trying to fix things. You ain't no damn counselor. That's all. That's all. And if that made you feel uncomfortable, like you had to walk on eggshells as my mod, well, then I'm glad that you're not my mod anymore, because that is not a hard thing to do. It wasn't hard for anybody else. It wasn't hard for anybody else not to hop from panel to panel, but it was the hardest thing for her. Like, for goodness sakes. I'm probably going to have to change the title of this, though, because I'm going to have to add to it. Hello, my beautiful Max, Pink Turtle, Sherry, Asleep at the Wheel. The customer always sucks, pretty much. GW is back to showing Natasha's pics right now, trying to get her views back up. Of course. That's what she does. That's what she does. How you doing? I'm a Clover. I don't know if I said hi to you, but I'm saying hi now. Yes, I'm just trying to be, you know, as nice as possible, because I don't think she's a bad person, and I want to make sure that that's clear. I just, you know, I just wanted for her to understand that inserting yourself into these types of things, you know, it really doesn't get you anywhere unless you have a channel and you're trying to gain subscribers. You know how I feel about friendships. It should never be based on anything but loyalty. Absolutely. And that pretty much sums it up. That's it. If it was that hard for you, you know, to just be a mod, you know, and I'm not saying not go on any panels, but when you're constantly on somebody's panel, you're constantly hopping up. Like, there's literally, I can't remember who it was, what creator it was, but every single time that they would drop that link, she was the first person up there. And like I said, and it was the Natasha panel is when things hit the fan, but it was also when she used somebody else's name to insert herself into a situation that was just not her place at all. You can't talk about situations that you don't know the whole story. Like I said, that's why I won't say anything about the DeLorean and Holly situation, because that's their situation. I would never want to insert myself in that, nor take sides. I am vouching for the fact that Boston inserts herself into things that she shouldn't. And if it was hard for her to do that as my mod, you know, like, I understand that you were asked to do that, but you don't have to do everything that you're asked to do. You don't. You can say no. Okay. So let me see here. Yep, I'm going to get to this right now. Okay. TSM, Holly keeps them in line. Boston and Heather don't speak out of turn over there. You know what? I don't go over there. I haven't been over there in so long, so I wouldn't know. But I highly wish her the best. Okay. I know how it makes me feel about them talking about Tasha. I know how it would make Tasha feels. When you want someone has and you can't get it and you try and tear away what they have to feel better about yourself because you don't. Exactly. 2 sips, that's why I stopped peeping in. Hurts my heart that they are talking on weight. In my opinion, they lost any argument saying nasty-ish like that. I am born and raised in Boston. I am a masshole. I love your accent, Dorothy. So does my fiance. He loves your accent too. Well, he's Italian. So he's half Italian. His mother is literally from Italy. Yes. Yes, Max. You don't have to ask me that. Let's be respectful to Tia and not fight in chat. I'd hate for Max to time us all out. Who's fighting? Wait a minute. Hold on. Time her out, Sunflower. I don't really just know what you're doing, but we don't do this in my chat. If you have a problem, then you need to talk respectfully or you will be blocked. And that's it. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about deflection for a minute, you guys. Okay, with Granny's watching, okay? Let's start with the first thing. The first deflection that I ever noticed, the first hypocritical thing that she ever did, and I was like, the fuck? Okay. So she makes the racist comment, okay? And I'm only going to say this once. She makes the racist comment about Natasha's niece and calls her Blackie, the token Blackie. Now, if you don't know how very, very racist that comment is, then refer back to a couple lives prior. That is a very offensive word to Black people. When that happened, everybody's saying that was racist, it's horrible, blah, 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 blah. And what happened the next day? The next day, the deflection was, nobody better call my house and talk about, pretend like they're this. And the big deflection was Mel Hawks. That was the deflection. That was what got everyone off of her saying a racist statement, saying a racist comment. And she deflects and everybody's talking about Mel Hawks. This is Mel Hawks' fault. She shouldn't have called her house, did a prank call, blah, 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 allegedly. Okay. That was the first deflection. Okay. The second deflection. What is it that she did? Was it, I think, her and Lycan breaking up or something? And she told all their business, but yet people started talking about it and she deflected back to something else. No matter what, it's always a deflection with her, right? She always deflects. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter who, what happens, what she does, some way, it's always deflected. Always. So we take it right here, right now. Yesterday was the most disgusting thing that I have ever witnessed here on YouTube. Okay. And let me tell you something. I've witnessed a lot of fucking messed up shit here on YouTube. And I'm mad. So that's why I cuss. But I witnessed a lot of crazy shit here on YouTube. How in the hell can you sit here and say that a grown-ass man reading a 12-year-old's, because she was 12 years old at the time that she wrote in this diary, how in the hell can you say that that is no big deal? Because if the situation was vice versa and somebody did that to her children, oh my God, it would be World War III. Everybody would be hearing about this for days on end, yelling and screaming on her live, every motherfucking thing, right? But because it's Natasha, it doesn't matter. It's no big deal. It's nothing compared to the things that she's been through, right? Nothing. The deflection is disgusting to me. And I'll tell you, it always happens. Pay attention, because if you don't see it now, you're a fool. There's always a big deflection with whatever happens to Natasha. Whatever happens to Natasha, it's never a big deal. It's never a big deal. It always goes back to her. Her self-importance. She's more important than everybody else. She is the perpetual victim. Because let me tell you something. Any person with kids, okay, would say, no matter how much you dislike a person, any person with kids would say, that's fucked up. That should never happen. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And I feel bad for that little girl. Even though you don't like a person doesn't mean that you can't admit when something is done wrong to them. And not even Natasha, her child. That's the least you could have said. But of course, it's not a big deal. It's Natasha's fault because she put it out there. Okay, fine. I personally will honestly say myself, I have boys, so they don't keep a diary, okay? But Natasha said that that was a separate diary from there. She had two different diaries, whatever. I don't want to get into the details about it, but regardless, just because Natasha gave that to somebody or got advice off of somebody does not justify what this racist did. Okay? It doesn't justify what he did. Just because Natasha put it out there, it still doesn't give him a right to read it to thousands of people. A child, a grown man reading a child's diary. How can anybody find any logic in that? How can anybody find any leeway in that? And Natasha didn't put it out there. I'm pretty sure she said she confided that into a couple people or a few people. I don't know how many, a few people to get advice. A lot of people get advice from other friends when it comes to parenting. When it comes to parenting, it doesn't come with a book of instructions. We make mistakes and we do get advice from our other friends. We do. And Natasha takes ownership that she should never have done that. You live and you learn. That still doesn't justify what he did. Period. Any real ass bitch would say, that's wrong. I don't care how much I hate that person. That's wrong. And then in the next breath say, oh, well, she'll never see it. Mariah will never see it. How the fuck do you know she'll never see it? How do you know? You don't know if she's never going to see it. She could see it. And just because Natasha confided that into friends does not give him the right to read it publicly to thousands of people. Some of you guys, you let your hate for Natasha justify everything. Everything. And it's disgusting. At what point do you say, that's wrong? That should not have happened, especially when it comes to a child. It's ridiculous. And I don't know for sure if she gave that to Lycan, but I bet you $50,000 she probably did. That's why she's deflecting so much. If you didn't do it, then why the fuck do you keep deflecting and talking about other stuff and showing pictures of Natasha and making fun of her weight? You're disgusting. It's disgusting. Makes me sick. Like, I can't with it. But no matter what, somehow or some way, people will always use an excuse. There is always an excuse for every single thing. Any bad thing that happens to Natasha, somebody could come, and God forbid this happens, and I pray to God that it never does. I'm just using this as an example. If somebody can come and freaking bash Natasha's car windows out, and everybody would say, well, she shouldn't have been driving. Or they would say she shouldn't have had her windows up. She should have left her windows down. There's always an excuse for everything. You guys have done nothing but dehumanize Natasha. Like, nothing matters with her because she's just this huge, big scammer that does this and does that. And it's disgusting to me. It's disgusting. Her weight, that's all they talk about. Her face is gorgeous. Trump that, punks. I agree. Okay, so I had a friend ask me the other day. She said, what did she say? She said, if a person chooses to hang around or be friends with somebody that they know is racist and that continues to do and say racist things, does that make them a racist? I repeat, if a person chooses to be friends with someone who does racist things and that says horrible things about Black people, minorities, does that mean that they're racist? And the question, or the answer to that question that I told her is yes. Yes. Sorry. And the only thing, or the only stipulation to that is, yes, they are, but they may not know it. Anything that you condone in life defines your character. If you sit there, and I'm talking about recently, not 4 or 5 years ago, not even 3 years ago, because everybody has the capability to change. The only way that a person could get away with that is if you have a very, very older family member, okay, regardless of what color you are. Because some older people, they think differently. They're from a different time, and that's different. That's different. Doesn't justify it, but it definitely is different. But I'm talking about in today's generation, what you accept is what defines you. What you tolerate is what defines you. And if you can align yourself and be okay with aligning yourself with somebody who has recently, I'm talking about recently, keyword, operative word, recently, says the N-words, says derogatory things about Black people, pretty much says that all Black people act one way, but all Black people are ghetto, things like that. If you accept that, what do you think that makes you? Especially if you're willing to lay down with that person and give yourself to a person that blatantly, openly says the N-word and has no problem with it and doesn't care how it affects others. It is disgusting. And yes, it defines you. Now, some people may disagree because they obviously align themselves with a racist and they want to make every excuse in the book as to why that's okay, because you're not. You're not. So you think, oh, I don't say what he says. It doesn't matter. You accept it. You align yourself with that person. Because any person who is not racist, the first thing that they're going to say if they meet somebody who says those things is, you're disgusting. Get the fuck away from me. They would never be okay with that. They would never tolerate something like that. Never. My family was pretty much racist. I don't find that to be excused. Wrong is wrong. Absolutely. You're right. Age, I would just say, I don't use that as an excuse, but I'm just saying I give people who are way back from a different time a little bit more of a leeway than I do people here in this generation, obviously. But regardless, there is no excuse. And when she said that about Natasha's daughter, when she said that racist comment about Natasha's daughter, I would have given her the benefit of the doubt had I not seen who she aligned herself with, because once I seen that she was with that asshole, that confirmed for me that she is. And I don't care what anybody says. It's that simple. Now, some people may not know it, but if you are being told, okay, by so many people, including Black people, that that's wrong, it is a racist comment. I've shown proof that it's a racist comment. It is very offensive to Black people, but yet you keep making excuses and saying that it's not racist. You're racist. Sorry. If you can't even take accountability and admit that what you said was wrong and it was racist, and you'll try to do fucking better, well, guess what? You're racist. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says or what they think. I'm entitled to my own opinion. And one Black person shouldn't confirm it for you. I don't care. 2, 3. It doesn't matter. It is a derogatory, racist term used towards Black people, period. And it doesn't rhyme with whatever it is that you were trying to say. I pray to God that my 3 beautiful little nieces never have to face racism for the color of their skin. It breaks my heart to think that they will. It does. It's heartbreaking, but it's definitely something that I always prepare my children for, because I know that they will, unfortunately, because there's people like her and him who make it okay to be racist. Why aren't more people standing up for what is right? I feel like we see so many followers and allow and condone so many channels to be racist, to incite hatred, to allow blatant lies. I agree. At least I try firmly tell them it's wrong. And if that doesn't help, then no, I would walk away. Agreed. I'm a Clover. We all bleed red, no matter what color our skin is. Absolutely. Her thing to tell Lycan was that him saying N-word is bad for business. Who the fuck says that? Sorry, makes me mad. Yeah, that just shows she's a racist right there. It's bad for business, but not bad for him as a person, right? Well, that's his choice. He's allowed to think what he wants to think. But I can tell you right now, it's racist to me, and I'm Black, okay? It's racist to anybody else that I've let hear that recording. Sorry, it is. Okay, he thinks it's not. I don't speak for all Black people. I can only speak for myself. But I can tell you right now, you can show me 200 Black people that might not be offended by that, and I will show you 2,000 that would. It doesn't take a genius to know that that is a very racist term, okay? And it's something that slipped out of her mouth, and I'm sure she didn't mean for it to, but it shows who she is. It was bound to happen one day. Everybody's true colors comes out eventually. I'll say this and leave. Granny is now getting death threats. Is that okay? No, it's not. Why would I think that's okay? I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's okay. No. Nobody should be getting death threats. It should never go that far. Absolutely not. Granny accidentally turned her camera on. She wasn't peen bombed. I have the live too. Uh-oh. We know that's not what she wants. Hi, new here. I grew with you. People tend to equally yig themselves. Well, welcome, Yorkie, Mama. Say it louder for the ones in the back. We all bleed red. Absolutely. I don't give a shit about what Loser BX said. He just cussed me. He's entitled to his opinion, and that's fine. If he doesn't think that's racist, that's on him. But he doesn't think the N-word's racist. Sorry, I can show you a million other Black people that do. Okay. Pink turtle. Do you? I have to say I love you. God made each and every one of us his liking. He loves us all, no matter what color. Absolutely. Yep. You guys are all right. I agree with you 100%. And no, I don't agree with her getting death threats. If that's happening, that is just wrong. Well, I wouldn't agree with something like that. Obviously, everything's getting out of hand, right? No, BX doesn't speak for me. He's entitled to not be offended by that. But like I said, that's on him. I know too many others who would have a problem with it, okay? And that's it. I heard dude said her cam slipped and my heart sunk. I was like, well, dang, I missed it. Natasha gets them daily too. Is that okay? Asking for a friend. Absolutely. Yep. Natasha gets them daily all the time. Okay. And the fact that you can sit there and just make it to where this is no big deal about what happened to Natasha's niece, it shows your character. It shows who you are. Like, at some point, when do you say, even though I can't stand Natasha, and I'm speaking obviously in a third term or whatever, but at what point do you say, at what point do you put your feelings aside to look at Natasha as a human being and say, this is wrong? This is wrong. Just like I'm able to put my feelings aside about GW and say, this is wrong. If she is getting death threats, it's wrong. That's wrong. Every single day. So I'm not going to justify her getting death threats. Absolutely no. Why in the hell would I think that's okay? Cooper put the private stuff out to the internet. What private stuff? I have never seen any private things that Natasha put out. I do know that thing about her father. However, that is public. Even though I don't agree with it, that's Natasha's choice, but it is still public. I liked BX. I would just ignore and skip when he spoke of Tasha. After he said what he said to those women, I said, nope, unsubbed. No man should speak to a woman like that, especially if they weren't. I didn't see that. I did not see that. But I wouldn't put it past him because there was an older woman that I just remember him being on panel with her, and she's older, and he literally, I mean, like really older. Like she was, I don't know. She may have been in like her 50s or 60s, but she was a big fan of his, and it was just, I don't know. I just didn't like the things that were being said to this older woman. I mean, it was really, really bad. I grew up in the 1960s by racist parents, but my mom was led by dad. Back then, he never changed, but I was punished for music. Any ethnic was off limits. I have every ethic now in my family. Wow. And I have friends, or even just acquaintances, I guess you can say, from back in the day that didn't know some of the things that they were saying was racist until I pointed it out to them. because they had racist parents and didn't know that themselves, the way that they spoke, they didn't know. And it took somebody else to point that out to them, and they changed. Some people change, some others, they stick to being racist. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, when somebody's trying to tell you something, and when somebody's trying to tell you, look, this is a horrible thing that you said, you listen. You listen and you say, wow, I never thought of it that way. I was very wrong for saying that. I never meant to hurt anybody. That's how you handle things like that. You don't sit there and double down and say, nope, it wasn't. It's just, no. Not everything a family does inside their home needs to be plastered all over the internet. I agree. I never said that I didn't agree with that. No, I agree. But she didn't plaster it all over the place. She shared this with friends, and she admitted she was wrong for doing so. And that's how I do, because Natasha is the first person that told me, don't say anything behind the scenes that you wouldn't want to be said publicly. And I don't. There ain't a damn thing that I say behind anybody's back, but I've always been like that. I don't say nothing behind nobody's back that I cannot say to their face, period. And sometimes, I'm going to open up the panel if any of you guys want to come on, but listen, sometimes we as friends, we share things with other friends. That doesn't mean that she shared it publicly. She shared it with other friends to get their opinion or advice. We do that. Don't sit there and act like you don't do that shit. Everything that Natasha does, you guys demonize it. Everything that she does, there's always an excuse for every damn bad thing that happens to her, and it's wrong. It's wrong. Quit making an excuse for every bad thing that happens to her, because it does not matter. Okay? It does not matter. This was from a year ago, right? How can anybody, excuse me, how can anybody justify what that man did? How can anybody justify that? How can anybody say that that's okay? No, she was in private chat, and a motherfuckery did her over. No friend ever should do that for a few. I agree. No friend should ever do that to anybody, period. You don't know the truth to speak it. Yeah, Kathy. Where's Kathy? Karen, not nasty, speaking the truth. I will leave because I respect Tia. Not will ever, never, and see. What are you saying? So now your true colors are showing. I don't want to have to time you out, because you are able to speak your opinion, Kathy, but please don't be disrespectful. That story is what happened to Jax. She reused it. See, I don't know what's going on here. I have always found you fair, Tia. I try to be. People can get mad. I don't care if people get mad and they sit there and say, oh, stop talking about racism. I'll talk about racism every motherfucking day if I want to, and you ain't going to do shit about it. Okay? I'll talk about it when I want to, how I want to. And you want to know why? Because racism is never going to go away when you shut up about it. It's never going to go away. Open up your mouth, and when you see it, say something. Hey, the DeLorean. Okay, I'm going to paste this in here. She was being nasty to Natasha. Yes, please do not be mean. Where is she at after that comment? I don't see her. Yes, if you're going, I do not follow Lycan at all and do not agree with his actions. Good, because his actions were completely wrong, and he violated a little girl. Okay? There is no excuse for it. It is disgusting. Okay? And nobody should ever justify what this man did. Nobody. But we see people justifying it and sitting there bashing other people. You guys want to know why? I go into plenty of chats. Anybody is welcomed here. Anybody is welcomed here as long as you are respectful. Period. Now, what I will say is, I do not. Well, I don't want to say that. I don't. It's been a while since I've talked to TT. It's been a long time. She lay low. She's laying low now. Whatever. Okay. But I'm sorry. I would take her back any day over Granny's watching. You want to know why? Because I don't ever remember her making any racist comments. Okay. I don't ever remember her. Okay. No, I would rather have no channels bash Natasha, but if I had to choose, I'm sorry, I would pick her over Granny's watching, because at least, okay, in the beginning, she bashed Natasha, weight shame, but then she stopped. She realized it was wrong and she stopped. I didn't agree with anybody having a channel talking about one person, but if I had to choose, it would not be her. It's just, that's just the way I feel. She's, yeah, TT was, she was really vile in the beginning, but, oh, thank you, Sherry. She was very vile in the beginning, but I feel like, she changed and she's at least stopped weight shaming, and none of this stuff is okay. But then when Natasha starts fighting back, now let's just say tomorrow, Natasha gets a picture and starts picking her apart. And Natasha has before. But why do you think she's done that? This woman has been bashing Natasha. She started her channel to bash. Can I ask if it's true that Kristen messaged you, Natasha, and said that about Jax? Did you show the text? Well, that's up to Natasha if she wants to answer that question, the door. And but right, that's what I'm saying. At least TT stopped. If you're going to be rude and disrespectful, I'm just going to time you out. And that's it. You're not going to just come in here and start bashing. If you're not in here for me and to listen to what I have to say, then you can just leave. If you're going to come in here because you know that Natasha's in here and you just want to say something rude or you just want to be disrespectful or whatever, then I am going to time you out and then I'm going to block you, because I don't deal with that kind of shit in my chat. You all agree with Natasha? Wait, you all agree with what Natasha does time and time again to people, MRBs, Miss Portland, Jax, MG, mods who left Kim and Craft, and the list goes on. Wait a second. You're wrong about that, Kathy. Okay? I don't agree with everything that Natasha does. No, I don't. Okay? There are things that she would do that I would not do myself. But what I will tell you is, I don't know what I would do if I was in her position. If I had somebody that started a channel based solely on bashing me, talking about my eyebrows, whatever. Woo! Talking about my eyebrows, talking about my weight, talking about my hair, talking about my makeup, just bashing me, bashing my parenting, bashing just everything. I don't know what I would do. I don't know. So here's the thing. How can you defend somebody who started their channel solely on bashing somebody else? What can you defend about that? I'm sorry. I just don't understand it. Are you saying that Natasha started her channel to bash somebody? Because she didn't. That's a lie. That's a lie. Okay. I'm sorry, that's a lie. Anybody who's going to come in here and try to stir the pot, you will be blocked. I'm telling you right now. That is a lie. Are you telling me that Natasha started her channel to bash Granny's Watching? Is that what you're saying, Kathy? Because that's a lie. This is Tia's channels. Yeah. If Natasha doesn't want to answer any questions or anything like that, that's her choice. And also, you're not going to come in here solely to talk about or bash somebody else. That's not going to happen. Thank you, allegedly with Brit. See, I need to ask you a question about help with how to trim a lace front wig sometime. Not now, but I will need help with it. You can ask me that question. I do mine a little bit differently, but I definitely can answer that for you. There are some pot stirs. They're triggered, making the rounds. You're beautiful, Tia. That girl can't even show her face. That's how insecure she is about herself. Thank you, beautiful Ariana. I appreciate you. My parents were racist, taught by their parents. I hated it always, knew it was wrong. Married a black man. My parents' hearts changed. They love and adore him. Oh, that is such a beautiful story. Oh, I love that story. I love that. I love it when people can change and grow and thrive. I just love that. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Yorkie Mama. That's beautiful. I never said he did. I just thought, who is that? I never said he did. I just thought the only one not coming up to defend himself, which is super strange. That's all. We're not even talking about that, so let's not talk about that. I'm afraid I'm going to screw it up, and I'm scared. I'm scared I will ruin it. No, it's not hard. I just do mine a little bit differently, but the way I do mine might be easier for you. So bullies are coming in because GW's live ended. I don't care. And you're right. That's probably it. But you want to know what? I don't care. You're not going to come in my chats causing any kind of trouble just because you see Natasha's in here. Don't do it, because I will time you out and then I will block you. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And what I'm talking about right now is that the deflection, I'm over it. Anytime if you can't see the deflection going on here, you guys, I'm sorry, you are a fool. You're a fool. It's nothing but deflection. Nothing. And hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Like, I'm so tired of it. I lived here and felt safe here in peace, and I come in drama, I swear, for fuck's sakes. There's really not, because someone needs to speak up. Yeah, but here's the thing, Kathy. You are entitled to your opinion, okay? But what I'm telling you is that I don't agree with you. You're sitting here telling me that Granny's Watching didn't start her channel because specifically for Natasha, because she did. She's admitted it over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, earlier she said she has 500 members, and those 500 members are literally there because they hate Natasha. She owes Natasha 50% of her earnings. Like, you literally get on your channel and bash every day. Every single day you bash this woman. That's not okay. That's not okay. So instead of being here talking and preaching about what Natasha does, do you go over on Granny's Watching channel and say the same damn thing? That's what I want to know. Do you go in her comment section and say this is wrong? I bet you don't. I'm tired of it. Like, you're entitled to your own opinion, like I said, but you can't sit here and just put all the blame on Natasha. Kathy, speak up on what? The individuals you spoke of are saints? No, they all, and yes, even though I care, Mrs. P, they all started ish with Natasha. And that's the thing too. I just don't agree. Like, I don't understand how you can justify what Lycan did. And I don't understand also how people can justify the racist comments that she made. There are so many people that I would expect to speak out about that have been nothing but allies and talking about the Black Lives Matter movement and how horrible it is to say racist comments, but all I hear is crickets when it came to this. It's sad to me. It's really, really sad. Why can't adults act like adults? We teach our kids to not body shame and hate, yet their parents are doing all of that. It's shameful. Exactly. And I can tell you right now, when has Natasha, even recently, I'm talking about the past week, when has she talked about Granny's Watching's looks at all this week? At all, because I haven't seen it. Can somebody tell me? Because literally not even a half hour ago, she was bashing Natasha, put her picture up there and was talking about her weight. Tell me how that's right. Hold on a second, you guys. In my opinion, Lycan didn't mean his apology. He said it because he got backlash. Oh, he apologized? I didn't know he apologized. Nobody told me he apologized, so I had no idea. Yes, please be respectful in chat, you guys. Okay? I agree. Body shaming publicly, how are others listening to that are overweight going to feel? Why hurt innocent people over your blind hatred for another? And also, how do you know that there isn't somebody in your comment section, or any of your supporters who struggle with weight problems? Like, how do you know? So not only are you sitting there bashing Natasha, but in that process, you're bashing other people in your comment section that struggle with any kind of weight problems. It's wrong. That's a child's intimate thoughts. That's not okay in any shape or form. That wasn't anyone's place. NC wasn't wrong for confiding in friends. We all do it. Wrong is wrong. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there is no excuse. There is no excuse for what happened. And I don't see how anybody can deflect and take it to that extreme. I'm sorry. It's just wrong. No, I don't think he did, but I think it was confirmed in the chat who it was, if I'm not mistaken. He apologized because a creator completely humiliated him, and he knows the whole platform despises him. Really, Max? Because whoever gave him that did it with malicious intent. Oh, yeah. If they had it for a year, and then all of a sudden they just, this whole year, they've had it, and then they give it to him. They gave it to him because they knew that he would do it, because he don't give a fuck. He don't give a fuck about nobody but himself. It's ridiculous, and nobody should make any kind of excuse for that. And I've seen nothing but excuses. Like, it's disgusting to me. And like I said, don't ever sit there and excuse the fact of what he did. Good night, serial killer. Thank you for being here, honey. Don't ever sit here and excuse the fact and say that Mariah will never see that. It makes me so fucking mad the way people deflect. The way she deflects and acts like it's not a big deal. That makes me so mad. Oh, well, she won't see it anyways. How do you know? But if the tables were turned, oh my goodness, we wouldn't hear the end of it. She'd be going on forever and ever. Like literally, she got a prank phone call and was talking about that for a month. But it's nothing that somebody read a 12-year-old little girl's diary. She was 12 at the time. She's 14 now. You just don't know. And that's not right. It's just not. Good night, Crime Talker. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to end this in a minute anyway. I saw a mod of GW's in there egging him on and admitted it was done for revenge against NC. He did not show that out of concern for M. He did it for revenge, period. Yes, that's why he did it. All of that was for revenge, and I'm just disgusted. I'm disgusted. I couldn't even watch it. So Natasha deserves to be outraged for it. And if the tables were turned and if something like that happened, even if you excuse me, shared it with one friend and it got out there, I'd be devastated, you know? Like there are so many things that I watch myself saying because I know I know my kids go on YouTube. I try not to cuss that much. Because I know that my kids go on YouTube and I know I have an 11-year-old, and he likes to game on YouTube, but he's not allowed to show his face or anything like that. But regardless, like you don't know what your kids are going to find on YouTube. You don't know what your kids, you have to monitor them. Obviously, you have to watch them and make sure, but you can only do so much as far as monitoring. And I don't ever want to say something and my kid, hear these types of things. You want to protect your kids as long as possible. But you can't sit there and just say, well, oh, she's never going to see it anyway. Everything is always an excuse. And what happens to her is always more important. It's always more severe. It's always more toxic. It's always more trauma. It's like you started this channel to bash one person, to talk about one person. You're weight shaming, age shaming, talking about her looks, being disgusting. You're a schoolyard motherfucking bully that bullies everybody. You bully everybody. Did you not think that people were going to start talking about you? I remember the day that CJ went to Natasha to make peace. And I remember what CJ said that pissed you off so bad you dragged the fuck out of her still to this day. All she said was, I don't think that this is for grannies watching. Because every single time she gets backlash from the things that she says, she acts like it shouldn't be happening to her. Like, how could you do this to me? But you just did the same thing to that person yesterday, right? And another thing before I end this. But yeah, when CJ, that's all she said. She didn't bash her. She didn't say anything bad. She just said, I don't think she's meant or cut out for this, because as soon as Natasha started coming back at her, she acted like it wasn't supposed to be happening. And that was the end of their friendship. And she was pissed off and weight shamed, the regular, horrible, disgusting, vile motherfucking shit that she does, right? Being a bully, showing your kids what a bully is. That's wonderful. But anyway, another thing I'm going to say before I end this is, hold on one second. Okay. Another thing that I'm going to say is, hold on, let me think for a second. I forgot. Wait a minute. It's on the tip of my tongue. It was something really important, you guys. Hold on, let me think. Damn it. It was a good damn point, too. And watch, as soon as I end this, I'll start thinking about it. Then I'll come back on here and fucking say it. Shit. But anyway, it'll come to me in a minute. But no matter what, you guys, it is, it's not, I've just never seen the community be in this bad. Like, it's been bad, you know, don't get me wrong, but this is the worst it's ever been. And people are getting hurt, but I think something really bad's going to happen. So are you going to leave this live up so I can go back? And of course, I don't delete lives, DeLorean. I don't delete any lives. I've deleted one live since I've been doing this, and that was a live that who is that on here? Sean's Princess was on here, and she wasn't really, you know, in a good way, and she asked me to take it down, and I did. But I don't I never ever private lives. Never. That pisses me off when creators do that, because you think, okay, unless it's for a good reason. I don't like that, because most creators who do that constantly, they only do it so you can't go back and reference what they said. So when they do it, all the shitty stuff that they say, they think it's gone. Okay. Sometimes it is gone, but most of the time, especially when you start a channel to bash one person, somebody's screen recording that bitch. Okay, somebody's screen recording it. But bitch as in the live, you know what I mean. But I seriously think that somebody's going to get hurt. There's a lot of people crossing some major boundaries, and it's really disgusting to watch. And I hope that something's got to give, I think it's insane. I've never really understood why people shame others, especially when you shame people for their looks and bash and things like that. Because how I look at it is, first of all, I've been through it, I lived it, but would I want my children to be treated that way? It's inevitable. People do that. And obviously, when people do that, it says more about them than it does the person that they're bashing and talking about. But it doesn't make the situation any less hurtful, right? But it's just sickening to me. It's sickening to watch. It's a horrible, horrible thing. And I hope and pray that Natasha's daughter never sees this. But that is a big deal. No matter how much he apologizes, no matter how much whatever it is that he says, it's still wrong. It's still fucked up. And you just have to think, this is a grown man reading a 12-year-old's, at the time, diary. That is disgusting. Like, how much self-esteem do you have for yourself if you can even date somebody like that? Date somebody that is a known racist, that is a known person that is on a panel with people who are saying burning Black babies, and Like, how could you literally sit there and even consider talking to somebody like that, let alone dating that person? Like, whatever. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's innocent, but what I am saying is when you start a channel solely for one person, you're going to get backlash for it. It is what it is. It is what it is. And I cannot believe how blatantly clear and obvious it is that I just don't think that she cares about anyone's feelings, to be honest with you. Anyone that disagrees with her, anyone who tries to tell her what it fucking is, they're going to be bashed. They're going to be talked about. Because there are too many people that didn't do a motherfucking thing to her. And just because they're cool with Natasha or friends with Natasha, she bashes them. How is that okay? It's not okay. We're all adults. We're perfectly capable of being neutral when it comes to certain things. We're perfectly capable of being loyal. And I can never see how anybody can justify what that man did. It's just disgusting. And I hope that it's only going to get worse if the more attention he gets, it's only going to get worse because he did it for attention to begin with. Showing him attention is what's making it worse, in my opinion. I know it's hard not to acknowledge the things that he did, especially this, but the main thing and his main priority, obviously, is getting attention. That's his main goal. It's disgusting, and I will never, ever condone it, and there is never any excuse for it. And you cannot excuse this type of behavior by sitting here saying, well, Natasha did this and Natasha did that, because at the end of the day, this is a child that he hurt. A child. It really doesn't have anything to do with Natasha. Regardless of who she showed it to, how can you justify a man reading that? Like, seriously. So, hey, Kelly, how are you, beautiful? Now, what was it that I was going to say? This one last thing I thought was really important. Obviously, it wasn't that important because it slipped my mind. Hold on a second. Yeah, one last thing. This wasn't it, but this is another thing too. So technically, her channel was started because of Natasha, okay, to bring awareness. Obviously, we all know this is not an awareness channel. This is a straight bullying channel. However, how about asking yourself this question, okay? Since the day that she started this channel, how many people have left Natasha? It's a good question. Your goal, your main objective to starting this channel is to bring awareness because you think everybody should see the person who Natasha really is. So how many people have left Natasha and came to your community, or just left Natasha, period? How many? Because what I see, in my personal opinion, since this has happened, I see none. None. Nobody. Maybe one or two. But to be honest with you, I see more people gravitating to Natasha, empathizing with Natasha, understanding the things that are happening here, and understanding that Natasha is literally retaliating against her. What I can't stand is people who say they know Natasha and her personal life and spews lies on other platforms just to promote their channel. Natasha is not a saint, like I said, but I've heard terrible shit is happening now. Exactly. Terrible shit is happening. Nobody is a saint, period. Oh, I must have missed that. So you left Natasha, Kathy? Okay, one. Because I can tell you from the things that I've seen more people gravitating to Natasha. And maybe not even going to Natasha, but empathizing with Natasha more and understanding that she's retaliating. How can you sit here and justify the things that Granny's Watching is doing, though? Like, she literally just put up her picture and was bashing her for her weight. Is that okay? Hold on. It says Natasha's mods answer this question for the people in the back, okay? Who held a panel just the other night with someone for her town trying to find out info? Yes, I seen a little bit of that panel. I can't say I agree with that. You know, everybody's different, but I can't agree with that. But everybody, I guess, runs their channel differently. I am not speaking or answering for Natasha. I'm only speaking for what I see. I also see her channel holding 650 alive, and other creators' views skyrocket when they talk about her. Exactly. Like she said, I'm supposed to be a get in where you fit in type of girl. Okay. To me, that boils down to the racism, but whatever. At the end of the day, to me, a get in where you fit in type of person is a person who starts a channel solely and specifically to bash one person. I'm not sitting here defending everything that Natasha does, but I'm saying that I do not agree with what Granny's Watching is doing. And I've seen it with my own two eyes how this went down, and it went down because Natasha started retaliating against her. The woman admits that she started this channel because of her. Like, how many, like I said, there are so many people that have been hurt. You know, to me, no, I could give a fuck less what they say about me. It's minuscule, but the things that have been said. Oh, this is the last thing I wanted to say. It finally came out. Okay. I've been on Natasha's panel a couple times where I have blatantly heard this woman lie, literally lie, and say that Natasha told everyone to go to her son's gaming channel. Natasha, what else did she say? She said, screamed all of her kids' names. That's a lie. I was right there on Natasha's panel. She didn't do nothing of the sort. And although I do not agree with Natasha talking about Granny's Watching's father, guess what? I understand and empathize, because has she not talked about Natasha's family? Has she not talked about Natasha's boyfriend saying she could steal him? Natasha's daughters saying that they're fair game. One of them is fair game because she's already on YouTube. Has she not talked about Natasha's family? It doesn't matter if it's already out there. You still talked about it, just like your father was already out there. And Natasha brought it up on her channel. Would I do that? Hell no. But Natasha is her own person and she can do what she wants to do. However, how is what you did any different? You literally keep saying you don't go real life. You don't go real life. What do you think talking about people's family is? That's going real life. Duh. Like, that's going real life. When you're talking about somebody's family, when you're playing videos, like you played a video of Natasha's daughter's voice. All of this, like, how do you think that you talking about Natasha's family is any different? You've brought up Natasha's record. Think about it, you guys. Like, come on. Well, that's fine. Don't, because that's what I'm talking about. And if you don't want to talk about that, then deuces. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the topic of everything that has turned toxic in this community. The hypocrisy, oh my God, hypocrisy. The hypocrisy is ridiculous. That is all I'm saying. Like, you can sit there and talk about, oh, name a time that I went real life. I can name some times that you went real life, sweetheart. Okay? Talking about somebody's family is going real life. It doesn't matter what's out there. Doesn't mean that you have to do it. Yes, don't be disrespectful towards people in the chat. We are all adults, and that is exactly what I was thinking about saying, but then it slipped my mind and now I'm saying it. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this live. I enjoyed doing it for you. Don't mind my mess in the back. I know it's a mess. Guys, see that? It's a mess because I'm still in the process of remodeling, but it's, I'm changing the aesthetic in the back. But I appreciate you guys being here. It means so much to me. It means a lot. I didn't think that there would be many people on here this late, so I appreciate you guys all being here. We're all adults, and I hope things do get better. I doubt that that's going to happen. But I just am so sick of this shit. And I pray that Natasha's, by Natasha Richardson, I pray that Natasha's daughter never ever sees that. Did he delete it? Hopefully he did. That foul, disgusting, whatever. But I appreciate you guys all being here, participating. By the DeLorean, thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you guys, and I appreciate you just being in here and participating, giving your opinion. I know that things are hot and heavy right now, and there's a lot of people who have very, very strong opinions about things. And people are sensitive and people are upset, people are hurt, and you kind of have to give some people leeway for that, because there are a lot of people hurt. The reason why I chose to do this live, for one, I actually was going to separate the two because I didn't want to combine both. Maybe I'll put some timestamps in. Good night, T. And I really didn't come in here to cause you any issues. I really thought I would take the step to say hello and be supportive. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you, Allegedly with Brittany. I appreciate you being in here. It does mean a lot, and I will definitely stop by your chat too. I appreciate that. I genuinely do. That means a lot. A while back, you talked about Black YouTubers and the lack of I found quite a few women. Hold on. While looking at my fave videos on van life women. Did you? That's awesome. And not necessarily, I'm talking about in this community, but as a whole, there are a lot of great Black YouTubers. But I'm just talking about in this community. That's all. There's not many. I don't think there's any but myself. And that's why I try to educate people on things when people say the token. Yeah, you guys get it. But I love you guys all. You guys are all amazing. And I wanted to, like I said, separate the two. But in the beginning, me talking about, not even talking about, but giving info, kind of taking a stand. I don't have anything against Boston Kuzi. I don't think that she's a bad person. But I will say that um, the opinions that people have had about her, this isn't new. And I do hope that some people take a stand and just say, hey, that's always been an issue. And I'm not even talking about just with me. Go back, do your research. You know, it's been an ongoing issue. And I don't see her around anymore. So that's great. Obviously, she's not inserting herself into things, but recently she did. And I do hope that, you know, those two friends work it out, because it would suck to see them not work it out. But don't ever, you shouldn't ever insert yourself into things that are going on, no matter who asks you. You just have to have a brain of your own and say no. You know what I'm saying? Because that could just be really offensive. You don't know these people. You don't know these people that well, especially these two friends that have known each other for a very long time. And the fact that some people, which is why I didn't want Heather to be my mod anymore, is because to me, I looked at it like, if she's saying these things about this person, then how do I know what she's saying behind my back? Her character was questionable after that. So I wanted to speak out about that because I think it's very, very weird how people kind of skim over the fact of where they're from, you know? And am I regretful of being friends with, I'm not going to say that I'm regretful of being friends, but I'm regretful of having them as mods. Let's just put it that way. I've learned a lot. I've been through a lot. I'm not saying that I always do the right thing. I do make some bad decisions. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I try to be the best person that I can be than I was the day before. But I just felt that it was right to speak out about it because it's a pattern. It's something that's happened. And I remember hearing specifically one part, because I can't watch it. I can't watch the whole thing when, you know, I used to watch Holly Lewis and the News. Um, I do like some of the things that she has to say and some of her opinions, but I definitely don't and haven't in a while. But when Boston is on her panel, which she always is, I guess that must be her, excuse me, her co-host now or something. But regardless, to hear her say, when you sitting here saying, oh, when you say it's a pattern, what do you mean? What community? Well, guess what? It's my community, okay, that you were very much a part of. And even though it's forgotten now, regardless, that's where it came from. It came from me. And if you go to the community prior, okay, the Ashley Cat community, they will say the same thing. It's been an ongoing issue. And I don't know why some people are afraid to say that. Everybody has their own issues and things like that. And it's obvious that she doesn't do that anymore, except for now. But everybody has their own issues. And I don't know why nobody would speak out about that. Like, that's ridiculous. But I guarantee you, there's a whole bunch of people, including not even just myself, but other people that do have enough guts to say, wait a second, this is a problem. This has always been a problem. And I would definitely say that the majority, which I didn't have many mods, but the majority of my mods didn't want her as a mod because they were concerned about me and the reflection that she was putting on my channel. I remember it, Tina. I promise you, it still hasn't changed. She is all up in it. Thank you, allegedly, with Brittany. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because it's like, don't sit there and just, say that I'm just making this up, or even that the DeLorean is just making this up. It's not true. Like, you were a mod at one time for a little bit, so you've seen it too. A lot of people seen it. Okay, so don't try to sit there and say, what community? Who are you talking about? It's a pattern. Well, I'm saying it's a pattern. And if you take it back to the other community prior, they'll tell you it was a pattern, not even a pattern. They will tell you the same thing. And I always felt bad, because instead of people actually talking to her, they would talk about her, especially from the community prior. You know what I'm saying? And they would troll her. They would just do horrible, nasty things. And to me, all I tried to do was help her the way she tries to help other people. At least that's what she thought she was doing. She is still around, inserting herself in our stuff. She came on my panel, all up in my stuff a couple weeks ago, and she is currently doing it to Lindsay. She needs to really evaluate. Agreed. 100%. And thank you for saying that, because I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm not cray-cray. I mean, I'm crazy a little bit, but I'm not that cray-cray. Great discussion. Please like the stream if you love Tia and want more helpful discussions. Thank you so much, Nell Bell. Leah, thank you. Anarchy, so good to see you in here. Kristen, thank you for popping in. I appreciate you. Oh, I don't watch YouTube drama anymore usually. Well, that's good. And I don't even like talking about drama that much, but I'm going to continue to talk about this. Sorry. I don't like bullies. I hope everyone has the sweetest dreams tomorrow. You all find a way to smile tomorrow. Yes, you guys are amazing. Thank you to my amazing mod, Max. You're so awesome. I love you to death. I love how the bulldog has me blocked. Good night. Who's that? I'm a Clover. Who are you talking about, sweetie? You did awesome job. You did an awesome job tonight, Tia. Max, have a good night, everyone. Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for participating. And I want us all to be respectful and chat to one another. We all might not agree with each other, and we all might not like this person and that person, but you need to leave that at the front door when you walk into this chat. Okay? There's always going to be there's always going to be people that you don't like in a chat. And just block them or ignore them, excuse me, or whatever. But if you have a question, maybe ask them directly, okay? Oh, thank you, Max. It's a mess right now, but I will try to be on here tomorrow, you guys. I love you. I am definitely going to be continuing to talk about this. I'm sure tomorrow I'll wake up and it's like, oh my God, her eyebrows. And it's like, you talk about my brows and you sit there and say I look like a clown, which I think she looks like Eileen Warnos, but that's a different story. You know, you want to talk about my brows and everything like that, and you act like that affects me in any way, shape, or form, okay? Every time I walk out of this house, I can't walk 2 steps without getting a compliment. Do you think I give a fuck about what you think? People don't ask me to do their makeup because I'm bad at it. But my brows are a preference. What can I say? Not everybody likes them, but that's okay. Everybody has their own opinions. Okay? But you're so corny to just sit there and talk about somebody's brows. I think it's so stupid. Like, if that's all you can talk about when it comes to somebody, it's just like, and it shows how freaking trashy you are that you can sit there and talk about somebody's makeup in general, because it shows your insecurity. And I'm sure if you knew how to do makeup like me, then maybe you would come on camera. Just saying. All right. I love you guys so much. And I hope you guys have an amazing night. I will see you guys tomorrow. I will try to be on here tomorrow. I think I'm a Clover met me. Just look, I don't have her block. Ask her to check if maybe she blocked me. Maybe she did. Let's just be respectful to one another, you guys, okay? All right. But we do need to talk allegedly with Brittany, though, because I definitely didn't like how I never heard from you after you were a mod. We're adults. We can definitely talk about it, because it definitely had me looking at you sideways. But I'm really genuinely happy to see you in my chat. It's been a while. So I love you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Remember how beautiful you are. Look at yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself how beautiful you are. Natasha, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter what they say about you. And strive to be a better person than you were the day before. Okay? Please, just do better, people. Not you guys, but some of you people need to do fucking better. That's all I gotta say. I love y'all, and I will see you guys soon. Deuces.